This might be the biggest threat to blockchain technology, not just XRP, but all of cryptocurrency over the next decade, and it's time to start preparing now. And I'm talking about quantum computing and the threat that it poses to blockchain technologies like XRP, Bitcoin, and others. And in today's update, we're going to break down why the XRP ledger is uniquely positioned. We already have some of the best minds in the world working on this matter, and it looks like the XRP ledger will be made quantum proof sometime over the next decade. So I didn't want to start out with too much fear. I know it is April Fool's. We got a lot of jokes being thrown around. We're not going to throw around any jokes today. It's going to be a serious update. But as always, we appreciate your support. Thank you for being here. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now, no more new April Fool's jokes for me, but I did put out one this morning. I just wanted to clarify that this was an April Fool's joke. I know that people want me to give you a target of $100 XRP, but it was just a joke this morning. I said, upon further review, I have adjusted my 2026 XRP target. We are definitely going to $100 XRP. And I feel like I kicked the hornet's nest this morning. Now, a lot of folks, the majority of folks, took it very well, laughing, saying, yes, thank you for delivering some hopium. And a lot of people understood that it was an April Fool's joke, but there was a good amount of people that did not and did not find it funny and were a little bit upset with me. But that's okay. It was lighthearted. I don't really get too much into the April Fool's joke stuff, but I decided with everything going on, we needed to laugh. So there's that. Got it out of the way, and I just wanted to clarify. No, I don't actually think XRP is going to $100 this year. Sometime in the future, though, yes. $100 XRP, quantum proof XRP, you bet. Let's get into it. RLUSD now live on Coin1, one of South Korea's largest regulated exchanges. Korean traders can now access Ripple's fully reserved enterprise-grade stablecoin directly in Korea. Local reach, global reach, local access. And this is so important because we've seen the kimchi premium over there in South Korea. For those of you guys who don't know, we've seen where XRP shot up to $3.84. That was the translated price from where XRP was trading at the Korean exchanges. You can go back and pull the statement from David Schwartz when he speaks on the January 2018 all-time high when XRP was at 384, and he says that it really wasn't the number that people were buying and selling at that time throughout the rest of the world. It was really only the price that was being paid in South Korea for XRP, and that translation over to US dollars correlated to $3.84. But there really wasn't much of any buying and selling of XRP at 384 during 2018. So even David Schwartz acknowledges that that probably wasn't the actual all-time high back then. Now, of course, we went to $3.66 in July of 2025. We traded up there for a while. And so to me, I consider our July 2025 $3.66 price the official all-time high of XRP. But bringing this back to why this is so important is because now traders in Korea can access US dollars through that Ripple stablecoin. This is big for Korea. It's going to be big for everybody across the world because they want access to US dollars. I know we say cash is trash, that our dollar is being devalued, but it's the cleanest shirt in the closet. The house is still on fire of all fiat currencies. The house of fiat currencies is on fire, and there ain't nobody coming to save it. But the US dollar is the cleanest shirt in the closet, and we love to see further integrations of RLUSD. Ripple putting out this announcement today, not an April Fool's joke, introducing the first native on-chain capabilities in an enterprise treasury management system. Today, Ripple Treasury is adding digital asset accounts and unified treasury to give CFOs the ability to view, hold, receive, and manage fiat and digital liquidity in their existing dashboard. No separate interface, no new workflows, and no need to navigate crypto on your own. Corporates, your starting point into digital assets is at treasury.ripple.com. And all of this work outside of quote-unquote crypto partnerships and integrations, this type of work here where you might not see the direct correlation to XRP, but you have to understand that all of this drives value back to XRP. when Koreans can start to use RLUSD on the XRP ledger, that does benefit XRP. When the treasury management system rolls out and gets upgraded here, Ripple acquiring G Treasury and now integrating all of the digital rails onto the back end of the system, seamlessly integrating it, that's also driving value back to XRP, right? And so people really are underestimating all of this infrastructure that Ripple's building out, all of these partnerships that they're building out. Even RLUSD has been so misunderstood where people think that that takes away value from XRP. It's actually the opposite. It's supplementary and complementary to XRP as well too. But let's get to the topic of today's video, which is making the XRP ledger quantum proof. We just had a shocking report put out by Google on the risk of quantum to blockchains. Let's take a look here. Vet says, today is quantum day. Google released new research on quantum risk in blockchains, highlighting XRP in its effort multiple times. Here are the findings and why especially Bitcoin I think he meant to say why Bitcoin might be in a little bit more trouble. Now he says Dennis is working on the testnet of the XRP ledger with full quantum proof algorithms. So Dennis is another developer already working on making XRP ledger quantum proof. XRP ledger's native key rotation ability for accounts, unlike Ethereum and Solana, already gives the XRP ledger an advantage today. And Google found that a lot fewer physical and logical qubits can break public blockchains than expected in less than 9 minutes. So that's enough to attack Bitcoin. See, the issue here is that the Bitcoin blocks, sometimes they close in longer than 9 or 10 minutes. I know, it's crazy. People think that that's going to be the future of finance, and it settles slower than existing systems. Absurd. But it also isn't going to be quantum proof, right? Because if the block closes in longer than 10 minutes, that's an opportunity, a vulnerability where a quantum computer could get in there and be able to attack the Bitcoin network. Now, so a key rotation alone is not enough to protect the submitted signature can be attacked. So what he's talking about here is the key rotation ability. It's a native key rotation ability on the XRP ledger, does give us an advantage, but it won't always be quantum proof. He also notes that what is truly remarkable is they made the public disclosure of their findings via zero knowledge proof, literally proving what they found without giving away the path to it. So it's like, it's almost like a white hat hacker, right? Where they know how to get through the system, but instead of putting it out there where nefarious actors could use it, they publish this documentation with zero knowledge proof, which is also a testament and a showcase of zero knowledge proof and why that is so important as well too. And by the way, we already have developers working on adding zero knowledge proof to the XRP ledger as well. Now we're going to get comments here from David Schwartz, one of 3 creators of the XRP ledger, former CTO of Ripple. And then we're also going to get comments here from Nick Bougalis, who used to be head of engineering at Ripple for over a decade. Now he left Ripple to actually go be CTO at Algorand. And he's now left that position as well, stepped back from that role. But this guy is a genius. And so he commented on this news as well. Interesting paper from Google, but let's be clear, the sky is not falling. And so I just want to comment, guys, be wary and understand that there's a lot of people that want to clickbait everything. They'll clickbait this and say that this is the end of Bitcoin, this is the end of XRP. It's not true. Right? The sky is falling. It's not true. Just like people want to clickbait the hopium, people will try to clickbait the FUD. And that's what we try to do, is to cut through the noise on both ends of the spectrum. Sure, maybe a cryptographically relevant quantum computer, which would require thousands of logical qubits, which means hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of physical ones could be built. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? Maybe. And is it likely in the next decade? No, it's not. This isn't a problem that just needs more brains or more money thrown at it. It's an engineering problem. Yes, but the actual physics behind that problem may mean it is prohibitively difficult to tackle. So just saying that we have time here. We have about a decade. And these attacks are only possible when the public key is known. It becomes known the moment you broadcast a transaction, which is why single-use key pairs are a good idea on UTXO-based systems, and why key rotation, which chains like Algorand and the XRP ledger support, is an important tool to protect accounts against quantum attacks. It can complicate key backups a bit, but we already know how to derive multiple key pairs from a single seed. More wallets should implement support for key rotation and allow users to opt into it. For me, the more urgent risk is the data harvest model. An adversary can collect encrypted data now and wait to decrypt it until sometime in the future. The relevant question here is, what is the required confidentiality lifespan of this data? And for most of us, the answer is probably not that long. The real risk is primarily for governments that often classify data for decades and perhaps even longer. Anyways, I do think we need to be working towards a PQ world. We shouldn't just sit back and wait. Migration will take time and effort. It's not something that can be done after the cat is out of the bag. So start working on it today. The sky is not falling. It's not here tomorrow. I do want to just comment. I think that they have been hiding a lot of the quantum technology behind the scenes at a military classified level. So I'm just going to interject my little point right here that I don't trust our government, and I don't trust that the AI models that we now have available publicly are the most advanced. Most of you guys probably agree with me. What we're working with Claude and Anthropic and these different AI models is not what the highest levels of our government are working with in military intelligence. Just like the talk about quantum being, a decade out or more, maybe a decade out or more for like the general public. I feel like they already have it though. Maybe I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist with my tinfoil hat, but I just wanted to interject that comment that I think maybe there's some levels of our military and levels of our government that's already working with some stuff that's pretty interesting. So, with that being said, what does David Schwartz have to say? David has made a few comments about this back in 2022 about how we can easily make the XRP ledger quantum resistant, but there are some trade-offs. He says XRP ledger is not quantum resistant. It could be made so, but with the present mechanics we have, the result would kind of suck because the quantum resistant algorithms we know of all have painful disadvantages in blockchain applications. He followed up by explaining a practical workaround for cold wallets. Cold wallets that, and guys, listen to this before you freak out, before you think you need to ditch a cold wallet, before you get scammed by somebody impersonating somebody trying to sell you a wallet or quantum-proof wallets. All scams. It's very simple. All you need to do is to set up a new one, and I'll let David explain right here. Cold wallets that hold only XRP and have never performed a transaction are already quantum resistant. Also, if you disable the master key and set a new regular key, your account is quantum resistant until you perform another transaction, and then you can change it again. So you can protect your XRP against quantum attacks today with a new cold wallet that then never performs a transaction. It is quantum proof on the XRP ledger right now. Okay. Now you would have to set up a new wallet and then perform no other transactions. Basically, just send the XRP there. I believe. I may be mistaken. But I think what he's describing here is you can set up a new cold storage wallet, load it up with XRP, and then never transact from that wallet other than depositing some XRP into it. I believe that's what David is saying. Okay? Anybody smarter than me that understands this better, comment down below. But in November of 2025, we got updated comments kind of saying the same things. You can make accounts that hold funds for long-term storage quantum safe by setting a regular key that has never been used and disabling the master key. Note that if you make any further transactions, you lose quantum safety until you set a new regular key that has never been used. We have ways we can make XRP Ledger quantum safe immediately, but they kind of suck. We and others are monitoring the state of the art in both quantum attacks and quantum defenses. The current attack development still seems about 8 years away from a practical attack. The current defenses require very large signatures or have other issues that make them painful to adopt. Any defense we adopt, we likely would have to support forever, so we're still in a wait and see status. So kind of let this develop a little bit further and then see how we need to plan accordingly and adapt accordingly. He also noted that quantum computing threats are often overhyped, like cold fusion, and that XRP Ledger, unlike Bitcoin, is flexible enough to upgrade without a disruptive hard fork if when needed. That is so important to understand. And the real issue that I see with Bitcoin is that you got to get over 50% of the network to make that hard fork take place. And this has already caused huge controversy and issues in the Bitcoin community in the past. If you haven't read Roger Ver's book on hijacking Bitcoin, that whole war was over the block size. How big should each block be? Some people wanted big blocks, some people wanted small blocks. Big blocks ended up winning. I believe maybe I have that wrong, but essentially, you've seen multiple. I mean, we've seen dozens of hard forks of Bitcoin in the past, and the network's going to have to come together to move it forward and make it quantum resistant in the future. Might be a little bit more difficult than the XRP Ledger. And we already have an XRP Ledger amendment proposal, number 420, Quantum Safe, Single-Use Keys, was inspired in part by Schwartz and former Ripple engineer Nick Bougalis, the other person that we just pulled their comment, right? It aims to mitigate quantum risk by rotating keys per transaction, but it's still in discussion as an optional upgrade. So basically, with every new transaction, you would be rotating your keys to your wallet. A little bit painful, but it's possible, and we're already working on it. So wanted to address that, as I know that this just hit the timeline over this past week. Hot issue, a lot of people concerned, even though we might have 5, 10, 15 years before this actually becomes a threat. You want to be aware of it, right? And a lot of people in the Bitcoin community are downplaying it. It's not an issue. We don't have to worry about it. I like the XRP community approach where we're saying, yes, there's still some time. We already have some advantages now. That's great. But let's continue working on this, right? We don't want to wait till it's too late, till the genie's out of the bottle before we try to bring this sucker back in. And so the XRP Ledger remains uniquely positioned when it comes to this issue of making a blockchain quantum resistant as well. Just like the XRP Ledger and XRP remains perfectly positioned on so many other fronts, when it comes to making a blockchain quantum resistant, XRP Ledger uniquely positioned once again, which is why I feel so comfy having such big bags of XRP and continuing to add to XRP at these levels. But I hope that you guys appreciated this breakdown. Hopefully it subsided any fears that you might have had. Don't let any hackers or scammers try to sell you a quantum-proof wallet or anything like that right now. Any regular old cold storage wallet that's set up, no transactions are done, it's quantum-proof. But you still don't have a threat of any quantum attack on the XRP Ledger for quite some time. So don't panic, don't get scammed, don't fall for the FUD. Cut through all the noise, and you can do that by continuing to come on back here where we break down current events, financial markets, and the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And on the way out, we would greatly appreciate it if you could smack that thumbs up for us. Everything else is at my website. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.